NRL Fantasy Round 2 recap. Hopefully, it was a good weekend for you. For me, I just came from watching the Parramatta Eels play, so I feel like it's a bit of a theme for these recaps. I'm coming from Eels games on Monday. They need to move those games forward in the weekend a bit so I can ruin my weekend earlier. But here we are, talking fantasy. That's the more fun side. And if the Eels are going to play like that, then I can focus purely on fantasy. So Newcastle v Dolphins first. Kalen Ponga, 86 points, massive game from him. Just looking at stats here, a couple of goals there, 3 try assists. You had the line break assist there as well, 5 bus. Big one here is 200 meters run, a few kick meters as well. But the big thing here was he was just in everything. So Kalen Ponga did not stop attacking. Absolutely insane. This game just looked totally dynamic. And Dolphins looked like had no answer for Kalen Ponga. I'm surprised it wasn't a bigger scoreline after watching the game, because watching it, it felt like it was going to be a lot of Kalen Ponga tries. And we probably got lucky as non-Ponga owners that he only scored 86. Like, this could have been absolutely brutal for non-owners. But for owners, enjoy that score. He's pumping out big numbers to start the year. Bradman Best, he bounced back here, 77 points there. So big Braddy boy. Scored a try there, a couple of line breaks, 7 tackle busts, 200 meters run. Pretty straightforward. He's an absolute weapon. Isaiah Katoa, I'm not reading into this one too much, but I will say there's attacking stats there, right? Try, all that sort of thing. The 31 tackles, 5 misses, that kind of balances out there. Big one here is 149 meters run. So he got his hands on the ball a bit more. There's a big run in there. But he's running the ball more. 471 meters, very encouraging as well. 559K, you're not going to play him, but in a draft league, you could maybe look to acquire him. It's going to be very difficult after this week, though. So Qatar is rising, but just too slowly to be worth buying in your regular fantasy team. Then Lucas, Greg Marzu, Fletcher Sharp here as well. So I'm a Lucas and Marzu owner myself. Lucas was unstoppable. Big thing here is 47 tackles, 145 meters run. That's about 61 points there by itself. And then you got the attacking stat on top, a couple of negatives there as well. He's absolutely unstoppable. Like, he's going to be a really good option for the start here. And Greg Marzu, this is all base here. So, 10 tackle bust, 200 meters run, 6 offloads. Now, Marzu wasn't really a notable offloader in the past. He has added that to his game. It's been absolutely awesome. If you don't have Marzu, I would consider buying Marzu, because he's playing a different style of footy now. Like, his offload count is massively increased compared to previous years. Fletcher Sharp is one that I'm a bit less, sort of you have to jump on him, just because he's a half, right? And he's a half who doesn't kick the ball much. So 36 kick meters, but he does everything else. So 126 meters run, a bunch of attacking stats here as well. He is so dynamic. And at that price, 562K, he's going to go up a bit. 61 average so far. Like, I mean, they've got the buy coming up really soon. You probably can't really buy any Knights players, but I'd probably still say go Muzzy for the safety over Sharp. I think Sharp will have a quiet game in him when they come up against tougher opposition, but they've had the Dolphins and the Tigers so far, so he is absolutely unleashed. Rolling down here, Herbie Farnworth. I'm not going to go through everyone in detail here. I'll throw in Kai Pierce-Paul. He copped a sin bin in this game. He will be suspended for about 2 weeks. So if you've got him as a pod, I get the idea. It was a good pod, but didn't work out. Hamaso, 30 points. You had a quieter one for him. Still a reasonable sort of set of base stats there, but just not enough in this game. And then down the bottom here, Max Plath, really quiet there as well. I might just pop up to Tom Gilbert. So Gilbert only played the 50 minutes there, 43 points, 38 tackles, 100 meters run, no other stats really. That's fine. Like 43, we sort of penciled him in as a 50 average. So he's going to have those bigger games. It's one of those quieter games. I'm not super fussed about it. But that is why I was saying don't waste a trade, going Seyfarth to Gilbert. I think they're kind of similar. Like, Gilbert's maybe a few points better, but Seyfarth is almost just as good. Then down the bottom here, there's no one really I want to talk about. Asako, back to earth, 22 points for Asako. He was on like -5 about 20 minutes into this game, but he sort of woke up and grabbed a few points. Brayley, if he goes to Newcastle, or not Newcastle, if he goes to Canberra early, that could be really interesting as well. But other than that, I'm going to jump past this game and go to the next one. So game by game, that's how we do it here on these recaps. Warriors v Seagulls up here. So this one was a cracker, and I'm going to do a victory lap here. I tipped the Warriors, but I also tipped the Dolphins. So, can I claim that much? Probably not. But I was keen on the Warriors here. Bounce back again in New Zealand. They got some good matchups coming up as well. So we're going to talk about Egan briefly. Had the try there. Really good base stats, 143 meters run. And Metcalf. We've got to talk about this guy, Luke Metcalf. So 64 points for him. Takes his average up to a 44. That's more around where we had him forecast in the preseason, where we have a forecast going forward. So low to mid 40s is sort of what I was saying about him. He had a good game, right? He had the try there, a couple of try assists as well. It was a very strong game for him. 85 run, 343 kick meters too. So kick meters are encouraging because he dominated those, whereas Chanel Harris-Tavita had 261. So it's about, sort of a 60-40 split between the two of them. So for Metcalf, look, he's going to have these big attacking days, but the encouraging thing is the Warriors have really good matchups next 2 weeks. They've got some games that are going to be a bit more open, attacking footy, and then they jump into a bye in round 5. So if you've got Metcalf and you're stuck with him, fantastic. He was in our hold list last week, but out of necessity, I moved him for Jamie Humphries. I couldn't find another way to move to Humphries, and I look at my team now, and I still couldn't really think of what else I could have done. I needed to get Humphries, and Humphries did outscore him, but if you held Metcalf and Humphries, you're in a great position here. So congrats to you. Fisher Harris here, 58 minutes played, 57 points. Look, he basically pumps out a PPM. If his minutes are going to be about 60, then he's going to be kind of value here, right? Like, it's a 54 average, it's floating upwards. He could be one of the potential keeper options going forward at 600K. So, yeah, Fisher Harris could be an option that's not completely ridiculous if you do want to target someone. So 40 tackles here, 130 minutes run. No real attacking plays there for that 57. Just pretty base heavy. Jason Saab, he has attacking days. I wouldn't worry about it. Sean Estavida, yeah, he had the try and all that. I just don't think there's good job security. I think they'll change the halves up at different times. And I would probably choose Tamari Martin over Harris Tavita if I was selecting the team. So I find it very hard to. It's similar to Kelma, right? I find it difficult to pick players who probably wouldn't be my first choice in those teams. So, but if you like Chanel Harris Tavita, then look, he's a solid player and he can pump out some points. Leo Hopewadi here, too expensive. Tuapiki, Tuapiki is a bit of a weapon. Bit pricey for what he is though. Then Leo Tower bounced back. Burbo had a better game as well. More base stats for him. Not the worst option at center. DCE, he picked up an injury. He should be okay. It was back spasms. Should be back this week or next week. So, but DCE, you're in a bit of a tough spot because that wasn't the best score and the injury isn't ideal, but he should be okay. Mitch Barnett, we got to talk about him. So he'll be in the hold or sell section this week. So 41 points is not good. 62 minutes is much better. So last week it was 51. This week it's 62. I'm looking at him and going, right, 3 tackles, a missed tackle, an error, 120 meters, no other stats, right? Just pure base, and a few negatives. Yeah, what do you do with that? It's tough because you can make the move from him to. So maybe if you have Hosking and Barnett, trade Hosking down to someone like Matty Nicholson or Metcalf or whoever it is, right? Just someone around that price, and then go Mitch Barnett to Payne Haas. I think Payne Haas might be a guy we have to get, so I'll go through Payne Haas in a sec. But Barnett, I'm actually okay with you selling him if you want to. Then down the list here, no one's super fantasy relevant here. I mean, Ruben Garrick, he's going to drop off a bit if Turbo and DC miss any time, but it doesn't look like they're going to miss a lot of time. Again, just not a game where he had the big attacking stats, right? So, he's not a big tackler. He had a few meters, not as many as he normally does. The Warriors sort of clamped it up. He didn't score any tries. 36 is okay. He needs some attacking stats. That's basically how that works with him. Olakawatu, 27. I mean, I would say the same about him. He does need some attacking stats, but 27 is exceptionally low. And you look at it here, it's the 7 missed tackles for minus 14 points and another penalty as well. So that's minus 16 in negatives. You take those out, it's a 43, for example. 27 is brutal. I think you're probably going to stick with Olakawatu if DCE isn't out long term, which it doesn't sound like he is. So you probably will stick with Olakawatu. But again, if we're looking at getting to Payne Haas or someone like that, he is someone you could sacrifice for that purpose. Then down the list here, no one's super relevant. I mean, Halasima, Valmaga, if they got minutes, they'd be interesting. Oh, Turbo. Sorry, I've got to talk about Turbo. So Turbo picked up a bit of a hammy issue in this one. They've done scans. It wasn't too bad, apparently. So he should be fine soon. The issue with the hamstring is soon usually means a couple of weeks. So it could be this week, could be next week, could be the week after that. Like I would say if you have Turbo, you're probably going to stick with him. But the score combined with the hamstring issue. Just, I guess my question is, what other fullback would you go for? That's the big question, right? Because the other wing fullbacks are a bit dicey. You go Kalen Ponga, for example, but he has the buy in round 4. So if Turbo is out for a time, then you could go straight to Ponga if you want to. Marzu, these guys. But yeah, Turbo. We'll go through him more in buy, hold, sell as well. I want to see the team list because if he's named this week, then it's a non-factor. But if he's out for a while, you never know with like hamstring tightness, right? That can sometimes be nothing. It can sometimes be a lot of time. Connor Watson, top scorer of the week. So 88 points. Congrats to big Connor Watt. Now, look at the stats here, right? So 2 tries there with 1 line break, a try saver. So you throw in some attacking stats. That's about 25 points. A bunch of tackle breaks came with that as well. So you're looking at a big bump there. So you're looking at sort of that mid 50s mark, which is still very impressive. And then you add in the attacking stats and you bump that to 88, right? And he's capable of those attacking stats. So that's well within profile for Connor Watson. 49 tackles, only one missed, and the 88 meters solid as well. Now, for Connor Watson, the big thing here and the big thing for this game in general, I'm going to fully shout out like my own shortfall here, is I thought Penrith would come and towel the Roosters up. So the Roosters are missing, Warrior Hargraves from last year, Manu, Suoli'i, Sam Walker, Luke Keary, like all these guys, right? Brandon Smith, like we can keep going through this list, but Victor Radley as well, and then you've got Spencer Leniu out. Like there's a bunch of guys, Nat Butcher, like they were missing a ton of talent there. So I thought the Roosters get cooked in this game. I really just thought Penrith get it done. And to be real, I've had a few people DM me and be like, "Oh, why didn't you say the Panthers would lose this game and pick some Roosters options?" And when I was saying it, I don't remember anyone pushing back. There's a few people after the fact that have pushed back. So I might start caveating the predictions with my tip and sort of saying if you're tipping this upset, then go with these guys. But yeah, for Connor Watson, he was a red hot start regardless. There's a couple of guys here that were different, so I'll get down to those guys. But some of them that I thought might be a bit lower. Sandon Smith, for example, I didn't expect big attacking output from him, and he came out and pumped it. But down this list here, Cleary is interesting. So a couple of try assists here. He had a tackle bust, so 5 tackle bust, 124 meters run. That's going to convert to tries and line breaks in future weeks. So I'm not really worried at all about Cleary. I was a little bit worried with about 30 minutes to go because his score was quite low at that point. He sort of woke up and got to it a bit after that, but yeah, it wasn't the best day. I mean, 369 kick meters as well is very low, and it's characteristic of the fact that there was just a lot of errors in this game. It was not a low quality game of footy, but there was a lot of incompletions, and then there was a lot of very poor defense and standing behind the goalposts as well. And look, the Roosters put on a show. They took it to Penrith. They absolutely rattled them. So yeah, for Cleary, it wasn't an ideal day, and he still pumped out that 63. I'm good with it. He's probably still my captain going forward. I can't imagine just the upside he has is relatively unmatched unless you're looking at Payne. I don't think Terrell May, unless Terrell May cracks out attacking stats, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm probably leaning still towards Cleary as my captain. So I'm not worried about him. Don't sell him. I've heard a few people saying they're going to sell Cleary for Payne Haas. Just absolutely crazy. Tedesco, he had a good day out, but let him get a bit cheaper first before you think about that. Alan Morty, I'm not that interested. Gussie Crichton, let's mention this. So he had the line break try assist there, which boosted his score a bit. So there's, like we said, those attacking stats will come for these guys. For him, it was that line break try assist. For Jake Preston, he grabbed a try as well, bumped into the mid 50s too. Other than that, though, it's tackles, some offloads, meters, all that sort of thing. But you need a few attacking stats for a guy like Gus Crichton. The Roosters have a good run of fixtures coming up as well. So I'm picking Gus Crichton to be a real riser over the next few weeks. Sewer Wong, if he keeps a spot, good stat line here. Like 40 tackles, tackle breaks, couple floats there as well, 20 meters run, upgrade in the missed tackles. But they're usually not. And he had 1 or 2 missed tackles that were pretty bad in this game. But other than that, his missed tackles are usually him coming out and putting decent contact on and sort of falling off the tackle. But there were a couple that were costly as well. So I'm keen to see if he holds that spot. If he does, look, he's in the 300. Right? He's very cheap. So he could be an option we target next week. Blake Steep is one that I had my eye on this week. I really thought about it. I didn't do it. I was actually thinking about doing it if I don't know if someone pulled out or something like that. Like I just couldn't bring myself to go Purdue to Blake Steep. Like it was just too sideways for me. Pumped out a great score in this game, but the minutes will drop off when these guys come back. If they come back soon, that's the thing, right? So Blake Steep could be a real sleeper cash cow. I think it's a bit too late now if you buy him this week, though. The Fahu White, look, good shout, good innings here, 58 minutes, 51 points, pumped out good numbers. He's still a guy that is on my sell list coming weeks. So the fact that we've got Nat Butcher, Victor Radley, Spencer Leniu coming back, White's the guy that's going to move to the bench. He will not play 58 minutes every week. He'll drop back to 45 minutes, and that'll be 38 points, be 40 points. So, once he gets to that point, you probably sell, but you've made a bit of cash. So I'd say about round 4, you're probably going to be selling Nafahu White, maybe round 5. Then Zach Docker Clay, I'm not super interested. I think his minutes will drop off once the sort of trips all come back as well, if they come back. Sandon Smith is one that I was super low on this week, and he came out against the Panthers and scored a try. Had 2, are they try savers? Oh, sorry, the 5 goals. Oh my God, yeah. Sorry, yeah, 5 goals there as well. The try assist, a couple of line break assists, and then had the 108 meters run. No kick meters or anything like that. Like Sandon Smith, he put on a show, and I'm going to put my hand up and say, you know what? I didn't think he had that in him. I didn't think the Roosters had that in them either. I thought Penrith would come and clamp them up. So that's on me. I mean, I had him in my loophole spot because I was missing a lot of guys. I had Harry Grant and Cam Munster out. So I copped his score, and a lot of you guys copped his score from that loophole as well. So that's good. If you benched him, that's a rough go. I still kind of stand by the call. Like, they were $11 outsiders, the Roosters. Like 2% of people in TBC tipped them. So you know what I mean? Like Sam Smith versus Jack Cole, and I'll get to Cole in a sec too. In fact, I might just jump to Cole now. It it was just such an interesting choice because I thought, Panthers will get this done, and I think we all thought that. And Sam Smith and the Roosters came to play, and they rocked up. Whereas Jack Cole, you look at these numbers here, and it's 19 tackles, 5 misses. He got a few errors as well. 60 meters run, did not kick the ball basically at all. Like no real attacking stats. Had the line break assist. It's so much, right? So Jack Cole is now a guy who's kind of on my never again list. I think he might struggle to keep his spot this week. Like the Panthers are not who we thought they were, and the Roosters aren't who we thought they were. That's kind of the whole summary here. So, in future weeks, Jack Cole moves down to the bottom. Sandon Smith becomes a little bit more matchup proof, a little bit more interesting. Just that running game that he's got there. So, Sandon Smith will be in my 17 this week. For Keddy, we talked about this a bit, him being a bit less attractive than Steep. He didn't get great numbers. I think he might be suspended as well. And then, Brian Toe with a try there, grabbed the 21. That's a very quiet game from him. He'll get nice and cheap at some point. We'll look for that. Isaiah Yeo, we got to talk about too. And I can't believe I just rolled straight past Isaiah Yeo. So, look, this guy here hasn't scored 30 points since 2019. 2019. That's we're in 2025. That's like 6 years. That's absolutely crazy. So for him, 30 points is ridiculous. Look, the 25 tackles is low. The 4 missed tackles is high. 125 meters run is a little low, but not outrageous. And there's just no other stats here, really. Like there's nothing else. So for him, we're gonna dig into this week. But my initial feel is it was just such a ridiculous game. Like there was 70 points scored. 70 points. That's absolutely huge. Penrith don't have games like that in general. Like, they don't stand under their posts often, and they've conceded 38 points in this game. And Isaiah Yeo's kind of just not, I guess, been in the game. I mean, that's probably part of it. I think another part of it is that no Fisher Harris there. He does average lower scores without Fisher Harris. So I think historically it's about a 57 without Fisher Harris, right? And I think part of that is that Fisher Harris takes on a lot of the responsibility of, generating line speed and very tough first contact. And maybe Isaiah Yeo is stepping into that a bit more. And it's a role that doesn't reward players for fantasy as much, right? Because you're bringing a lot of intensity to tackles as opposed to hopping on, second or third man. So maybe that's what's happening. I mean, I'm going to have to go back and watch the film and I'll make an assessment for you guys. But at this stage, it's very tempting. If you're looking at, Payne Haas and you have Isaiah Yeo, I know, like, technically it's sideways. But Payne Haas is doing something this year that might not be matched. And we'll talk about Payne Haas when we get to him. Like, I don't have Payne Haas, and I wanted to watch and see how he did it this week. They lost, and he still went out and did it like that. We'll talk about Payne Haas. We'll do a Payne Haas episode this week as well. But yeah, I think maybe we have to try and find a way to get him in. Rob Toya, I will shout him out as well. So 113 meters run, 16 tackles, some tackle bars, offload. Pretty base stat heavy. Only the 1 missed tackle. So Penrith didn't really throw much at him successfully anyway. So 38 points. He's very reliable. We can plug him in pretty consistently now. It was fairly cautious with him and, Nawani Tawase as well against, the reigning premiers, right, Penrith. So that's a fair enough move. And then Dylan Edwards, I will say, is out for 2 to 3 weeks as well. So if you have him, I'd probably sell him. He put out a pretty low score and then got himself injured, unfortunately. Then moving through Dragons and Rabbitohs, and we've got to talk about Jamie Humphries, right? So this guy came out, pumped out a 72. Look, the advice all of this week was you have to get Jamie Humphries in, even if you don't have anyone to sell. So a lot of what I was recommending was Hetherington to Humphries, or people who had cash. We moved some cheapies to Humphries, but a lot of people went Metcalf to Humphries. I'm going to shout out here Jamie Humphries. This stat line here, he had the field goal and a try assist, right? So not super heavy in attacking stats. Like let's call that 12 points of attacking stats. So you bump him down to a 60, right? So 60 points base. Whereas Metcalf, you had the try assist, a couple of line breaks. Like he had a lot of big attacking plays. And there were tackle breaks in those as well. Like he scored 30 base and then pumped up with the attacking stats. So that difference in base is worth the trade. Like I would happily have Humphries over Metcalf right now. If you manage to keep both, you were in a better position than I, though. So if you kept both, you're in a fantastic spot. But Humphreys, do not regret it at all, the trade you made. Like, the base stats here were fantastic, and the fact that he won the game with the field goal, he's pretty locked in now. Like, I can't imagine he gets dropped after that game. He's carrying the entire kicking load here, 147 kick meters. Cody Walker will get down here at the bottom, but he didn't do much kicking at all. He's running the ball a bit more this week, and you've got that field goal as well, the goal kicking. Like, he's just a bona fide fantasy monster right now. So yeah, Humphreys, you're very happy with it. Jaden Sewer has these games all the time. Like, he just pops off every now and then. It's crazy though. No attacking stats really, just the offloads, tackle bust, but very base stat heavy. 71, monstrous. Gutherson was everywhere. He looked so dynamic in this game. 66 points. Bit of a hobble in this one, so I would be careful about the pod. I actually don't hate Gutho as a pod at some point. It's kind of hoping you get cheaper. I will say too, if you're buying a Dragons player, which is a few we're going to recommend here, they do have a buy in round 3. So wait round 4 to buy these guys. Kepi, I'm not super interested. 64 minutes is fantastic, but the minutes were inflated this game by a number of injuries, and I don't think he keeps that going long term. DeBellin, 60 points, 60 minutes. He can go and do that all the time, but at the minute it's going to be consistent. Clemmer I'm a bit sus on it. Mama Zealous grabbed the try, had a try assist as well. 38 tackles, 50 meters run. Like, he showed a bit more in attack in this game, and I think he did a lot to earn his position in the team. So I think what we're going to see is him securing some kind of role here semi-permanently. We also have the fact that, what's his name? Lewis Dodd is out with a calf injury now for some time. We don't know how long. He's done a calf and reserve grade. So Mama Zealous' security and Humphrey's security is really strong right now. Toby Couchman, 59 points here, 62 minutes. Came off the bench in this game, 18 minutes in, played it out, 45 tackles, 166 meters run. Just a base game again. So Couchman's a guy I'm probably going to be targeting in 2 weeks' time. Can't get him. They got the buy in round 3, but round 4, I'll probably look at buying him. Like, he's just an absolute beast in the base stats. Looks good in real life as well. That's the big thing too. Sloan came in, scored a couple of tries, not really relevant for fantasy. Tuipulotu did it again. Look, 4 tackle bus, 200 meters run. Playing outside Val Holmes, 3 line breaks. Like, he's absolutely killing it. Picked up a bit of an injury towards the end of the game, so I'm keen to see how that plays out. But you started the year with him. He was just a monster pod. I don't know if it's a bit late now to jump on. That's my concern, but you could do it if you wanted to. Like, he's a bit of a Mazu 2.0, a bit more attacking upside, a bit less base, but yeah, he's a bit of a beast. And the big celebrations, I kind of enjoy those as well. Then, yeah, Gray solid. Gula is one that sort of slipped under the radar here. 48 minutes, 51 points. Talked a bit. He hasn't been in the past, but it's a very strange stat line because you got a rower here who plays 48 minutes, runs 49 meters, and just does a bunch of tackling basically. So strange stat line for him. I think it's bumped out by Clemmer as the starter, and I think his minutes will fade at that point. Lockie Hubner is out for 2 weeks, so really sad news for us. But I would say hold him through that period because he was really good in this game. 36 tackles, a couple of tackle busts there, 120 meters run. Very base stat heavy, 50 points. Like, he's an absolute beast, and Bennett loves him. Question is, when Aitken comes back, does that potentially steal some Hubner minutes by moving Arrow back into the middle? Probably does. But also the fact that Tallis Duncan is out injured for, I think it's about 3 to 4 weeks. So that's good news for Hubner, bad news for Tallis. Then Damien Cook, solid. And then down the list here, I mean, Hamish Stewart, 45 minutes and 45 points, 32 minutes. Had the try assist there, but really base stat heavy. He's an absolute machine. Bit expensive now to jump on. And then the Clemmer buy as well. Again, it's a bit of bad news for him as well. Lockie Ilias, 544 kick meters. Look, he's not a sexy option, but he's a guy that you can hang your hat on. And look, credit to Butters, to Adrian Buttery, who does rate him pretty highly on those kick meters, and he's called that correctly. Then Val Holmes, we've got look, a bit of a lower game for him. Down the list here, let's have a look. So some low scores. Cody Walker's going to be cheap. Kalomatangi, 28 points, very low for him. Just no attacking stats on offer. Jai Arrow had 2 HKs in this game, played 34 minutes. That's why a lot of the other guys got bigger minutes. Then down the list here, Laurie started, played 18 minutes, and then went off the rest of the game for Couchman, which is pretty crazy. Little is getting cheap. Duncan, he went off injured as well, but wasn't having a great game in general. Like, just didn't look fantastic out there. And some of the cheapies went pretty low, right? Bentley Hope and Fletcher Myers, like they weren't guys we were targeting anyway. So interesting that South Sydney have signed Ravalawa too. So that'll be interesting for them. Now, moving on to the Cowboys and the Sharks, and I thought the Cowboys might put up a bit more of a fight in this game, playing their first game at home in North Queensland. I thought the Heat might play into their hands as well. I didn't expect them to be this feeble and this easily dominated, but they came out and they were walked all over by Cronulla. So maybe that's who the Cowboys are this year. I mean, I guess you look at the Cowboys too, and the year they won the comp in 2015, 2016, 2015, 20, sorry, Cronulla was 2016. So 2015, Cowboys won the comp. They lost the first 3 games that year, and the third one was to Brisbane. So if it was to Brisbane in round 3, it might be an omen that they win the comp. But I will say, Kale Aro, a couple of tries here. He was just too powerful in this game. Is he a guy that you're going to target? Probably not. Probably not. Like, he's pretty expensive, but he's an absolute beast at center. So, you could do worse than getting on this guy. Nico Hines had a better day. We talked about him as a bounce back candidate in this one. More kick meters from him. So 324 kick meters. Where is Trindle? Actually, I do want to see the comparison. So Trindle had 300, right? So we're looking at a 50-50 kick meter split. We also saw Nico Hines take the goal kicking back part game. I believe someone else took one shot for him. Now, I was out having a few drinks on when this game was on, so maybe he did, maybe they didn't. Okay, maybe it was all Nico Hines. So he's got the goal kicking back. He has the kick meters there as well, 120 meters run. Like, a few attacking stats here too. Like, he can do a lot worse than a pod Nico Hines in a few weeks' time. He's getting a bit cheaper. Got 26K last week. I'm not totally against it. I know the money you're gonna, he's very close in price to Payne Haas. So we're going to go for Payne Haas, but Nico Hines at some point will be attractive, and I'll be eyeing him off because the goal kicking's back, the kick meters are somewhat back, and he was really good in this game. Didn't hit those big attacking stats either, so that's 64 without, really much, like the try assist, and that's about it. No tackle busts, no tries, no line breaks, any of that sort of stuff. So Hines is a guy I've got my eye on 100%. Stone Street has usually no base stats, so I'm not interested at all. Wilton grabbed a try. We talked about him a bit last week as an interesting pod. He can pop off here and there, and this was an example of that. Mulatalo, if he gets cheap at some point, I'm interested, but not while he's full price. And then one second. And then we've got Brayley, Drinkwater. Yeah, okay, we'll move down these guys. Kennedy, Edwards, Robson. I mean, Bateman, a bit quiet here. 5 missed tackles. Look, defense wasn't great last week either, so that's really knocked a bunch of points off his score. Kai O'Donnell was okay. Fanua Blake, I mean, look, 49 minutes, right? We talked about this in the preseason. It was a very strong base game, so 140 meters run, made his tackles, didn't miss any, but didn't have any attacking upside. So 36 points it's a bit of a disaster if you have Fanua Blake. Tommy Dearden's going to get nice and cheap, so at some point I might consider him. Ruben Cotter is going to get nice and cheap, 28 points here. Really low score, a lot of missed tackles, errors, 3 penalties, like bit of a disaster game for him. And he started off the year slow as well because he scored this was a 28. Last week, I think he scored about a 38. So he's going to get a bit cheaper. And at some point, we might consider him. Issue is the buys aren't great for the Cowboys who play Origin. So might not be able to make it work. Trindle, quiet because Hines took over a bit. So he took a bit of a back seat. Duffy, 25 points. This is a hard one to swallow because he came out right. He has the try assist there. 17 tackles, 5 misses, so only +7 from defense. 36 meters run is pretty low, even for him. And the nearly 400 kick meters is good, but I don't know, I was watching this game and I felt like he was racking up points for kicks and he was losing points in defense and he wasn't really doing much else. So it's a tough one. Like, you can't really trust him in your 17 if he's playing like that. They got the Broncos next week, and the Broncos are, I don't know, the Broncos can leak a bit, but like the thing I've sort of called out the last 2 weeks for the Broncos is I like the big powerful centers. So we talked about Rob Toyer round 1. I was very confident in him. We talked about Matt Tomoko last week. The halves haven't really lit it up, right? Ethan Strange only scored like 10 points in that win. The halves for the Roosters in round 1 didn't. I mean, Sandon Smith did grab the try in that game, but yeah, Duffy might be a guy we bench next week. And then down the list here, Talangi a bit cheaper as well. Talakai, if he gets to start. Braden Burns picked up an injury in this one, so that might open the door to Robert Derby potentially. Not sure what the severity of Braden Burns' injury is, though, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Teamless Tuesday for the Cowboys will be interesting, but we might get a cash out of them. Then rolling down the list here, Raiders and the Broncos and Payne Haas. We've got to talk about this guy here. Look, absolute monster. He's pumped out an 81 and an 85 so far. He's in quite a few teams, but a lot of the real serious teams avoided him because they, including me, we were smart because he had the ankle surgery close to the season. We thought, oh yeah, we'll stick him while he's come back from injury. Well, he's back. He's come back. Like there's no coming back for Payne Haas. He's absolutely come back. Now in this game they lost. They were, beat up through them quite a bit. So Horsburgh, Hosking, like, I feel these guys really did a job. Hosking did go to lock in this game. We had no Tarpanay there, but Papali looked good in this one as well. So for Payne Haas, you got 57 minutes, 85 points. So 36 tackles. You have the 4 tackle breaks, the 6 offloads, the offload to ground as well. So the offloads is 26 points by itself, for example, right? Then 161 meters run, no missed tackles, 1 error. He's not racking up any negatives at all. This was an 85 without any attacking stats, like pure attacking stats, right? I consider tackle busts and offloads as part of Payne Haas's base. And like it's upside base, but it's base. So, no line breaks, no tries, no try assists. They had the try system round 1. Absolutely incredible, right? And they've got a good run of fixtures coming up where he could grab some attacking stats. So I'm gonna try and find a way to get Payne Haas into my team. I gotta find a way to do it. It's impossible to ignore him. It's very hard to ignore him right now. The fact that Zach Hosking is injured, that might open a door, potentially find a way to Payne Haas. Gonna have to free up some cash though to get there. So yeah, look, Payne Haas, I think you have to target him. Like he's just playing a different brand of footy. I'll do an episode on this, but the offloads are on a different level. Like the statistical output from him in terms of offloads is crazy. And the way he's playing, like if you just watch Brisbane games, go watch the KO Mini, right? Or go watch the first 10 minutes of the game, of both games, and watch the way he runs into the line, looks for tackle breaks, looks for offloads. Like he's playing attacking footy. And they've got, Carrigan, Hetherington, these guys sort of playing that more stable footy. Like they've just got Haas out there as a wrecking ball. So yeah, for Payne Haas, if you've got him already, by the way, congratulations. You've absolutely nailed it. For the rest of us, I think we have to get on. I think we have to find a way to get on to Payne Haas, and he probably is priority number 1. Another priority here is Matty Nicholson. So you might not know about this guy, but he came across from England. He's a promising edge back rower. Doesn't have massive fantasy pedigree overseas. So he's solid enough, but not anything to write home about. But for him, 450K, pumped out an 82. Look, this score here, it includes 2 tries. So 65 minutes, he played the Hosking role. Hosking went to lock. Hosking's now hurt. Probably holds that spot. Could be a very interesting option. So you could target him 100%. It's going to be very difficult for you to buy him and Payne Haas. That's the big thing. So you got to toss up the priority there. But for Matty Nicholson, it's probably more of a cash grab. But if we look at him, the 2 tries there, 2 line breaks, that's about 24 points. You're throwing some tackle busts for each of those. I think it was about 2 each. So you're looking at about 28, 32 points. And you got a few meters as well. So let's call that, maybe 34 points, right? In those 2 tries. So you take those out of the equation and you're looking at, what's that? Down to sort of 52, 48, like sort of high 40s there. But a high 40s base plus attacking stats is actually fantastic. So even that's really good. And I look at these Canberra back rowers, and they're generally guys who do get attacking stats. Like they feed their back rowers some very quality ball. So yeah, Nicholson might be too hard to ignore if he gets that starting edge back row spot. And the fact that he did it in this game and Hosking just went to lock. Next week, what'll happen is Horsburgh will go to lock and Tarpanay will go to prop. Right. So Nicholson will probably still hold this spot. You probably can't ignore him. That's difficult. That's really difficult. I'll try and get both, but it's going to be expensive. Like it's going to be very hard to do. If you've got a lot of cash in the bank, you're in a good position. But maybe Nicholson would be the priority. We'll talk about this week, but the cash generation from Nicholson is a big thing. He's going to shoot up in price here, and his break even is going to be very low. Whereas Payne Haas, he's going to be expensive regardless. So you got to cop it. Down the list here, look, Starling was good. Grabbed the try there. Looks really dynamic. Plays a lot of lock minutes as well. Horsburgh had the try assist there that kind of saved his score. 52 minutes. He was playing the pure prop role because Tarpanay was out. He'll go back to lock next week, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, 127 meters. The stats were fine. He played a bit more attack there. His minutes will bump up next week. Then down the list here, look, Tomoko, we talked about him as a bit of an outlier pod. He's been absolutely dynamic to start the year. Some very good runs from him. Fogarty pumping out a 55 and a 54. Like he's like clockwork, this guy. Not a lot of keep meters in this game because, again, a lot more attack in this one. Grabbed a few try assists as well. Hosking, he is out with a suspected broken hand or broken wrist. 53 points. He did a good job for us in this one. Played 71 minutes. Unfortunately, he might be gone for us. So Hosking's probably going to be a sell. That's most likely what's going to happen here. Reynolds was solid. Hudson Young, yep. Papali played more minutes. So 44 minutes for Papali. Grabbed the try. He looked good. Try for kick, right? It's not really a classic Papali try. Then, Ricky's been good so far. Tamale saved his day with that try. So had the try, line break. 113 meters run, so not super high from him. Not great base output from Tamale, if I'm being completely transparent. I thought he had a bit more base in him than that. but potentially he goes back to it next week. It just wasn't a game that sort of broke his way. There are a few close to tackle breaks in his runs as well, so he nearly broke out a few times. And yeah, he's a dangerous guy. So you got to stick him in your 17, but I think he might have a lower floor than we think he does. That's all I'm sort of pointing out there. Corey Pake's a bit more of a normal game, so he made his 44 tackles and did absolutely nothing else in this game. Just 44 tackles, scored 43 points, 54 minutes. That's the upside on him, right? That's the big upside on Pakes. That 43 points, he'll make a bit of cash for you. He did get put on report, but I think he was all good. Paddy Carrigan, a bit quieter in this one, just base stats, 39 points, not that exciting. And then down the list here, have we got anyone else we want to talk about? I mean, Ben Hunt, very quiet, 19 points. Didn't kick the ball basically at all, like 11 kick meters, 45 run meters. This was the downside of potentially this halves pairing. Two older guys, Canberra hitting hard. Maybe I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, for Ben Hunt, not a great day out for him. KO Weeks will get nice and cheap as well. So he's pumped out the 17 on the back of the 25 last week. 78 run meters isn't great, but he'll have his days where he absolutely shows out. Just the base is very low for KO Weeks. Like you're relying on big attacking stats. Shibasaki as well. Again, low base, right? He's historically a 32 average. We talked about this. Canberra was a tough matchup, and he got beat up a bit in this one, 4 missed tackles. Piakura came on, 14 points. Our boy Piakura. At some point, Piakura will take that starting spot of Jack Jezewski, who I'm about to cover. But Piakura, he only played 32 minutes. The score isn't great, but attacking stat upside is basically what you're playing for with Piakura. And if I just jump down to Jack Jezewski, Jezewski owners were in my DMs last week, and I've got to throw him back now. You're in my DMs sort of saying, oh, why didn't you recommend Jezewski? This is why I didn't recommend Jezewski. 48 minutes is more what I predicted. I didn't really think that he was going to be an 80-minute back rower. I was very surprised in round one. I'm kind of glad it's gone back to normal here. That's why I refused to buy him this week as well. 11 points in 48 minutes. He has in him all the time, right? So 13 tackles, 4 missed tackles. So you get a +5 from defense, which is 13 minus 8. You got the offload there, 29 meter runs, so 2 points from run meters there. It's a very low base there for a guy who's not playing 80 minutes. And Piakura is the preferred back rower long term, 100%. Like that is absolutely what's going on there. So I think Piakura will grow into more minutes as the year goes on. If you have Jezewski, though, stick him another couple of weeks. He can make some cash for you. Maybe he can fluke some attacking stats. Brisbane have really good fixtures. So I know I'm cold on him, but I think he could fluke a try here and there in some of the easier matchups that are coming up. Owen Paddy, 11 points, 15 minutes, not massive for him. Showed his boot off, though. Massive boot. A huge kick from him. 64 kick meters. He topped the New South Wales Cup last year in 40-20s as well. So at some point, he'll be interesting. But if they're signing Jaden Brayley to help mentor Owen Paddy, then he's probably a few years away. And Albert Hopewadi, quiet. Ethan Strange, very, very quiet. Strange might at some point get cheap enough to be considerable, but just no kick meters is the issue. Right? So it's very hard to trust him as a scorer week to week. And then, sorry, I nearly didn't talk about him. Reece Walsh -2. Oof. So if you have Walsh, my advice is almost you've got to hold Walsh. Just like with Reece Walsh, right? He's so electric. He's so electric. And this was a disaster of a game. I remember watching this game and just seeing him throwing the ball behind people and out over the sideline. It was a disaster. But Reece Walsh is an absolute dynamo. And look, 4 tackles, that's -8. 4 errors, that's -8. The penalty there as well. Just and the 97 meters, not a lot else, right? The fixtures that the Broncos have coming up are so good that you can't ignore them. That's my take on this with Brisbane. I just think you can't ignore them. And I think if you own Reece Walsh, you're going to cop an absolute beating in terms of him dropping in price. But you can't ignore the fixtures Brisbane have coming up. They are so good. Like he is going to have some games where he absolutely tears teams to shreds. I will be targeting Walsh in about 2 weeks' time. That's my plan right now. If he can bounce back next week and get his break even to something semi-respectable, and he gets nice and cheap, and you can get him around, in the high 500s or something like that, that's super attractive to me. Like that's what I'm looking for there. So Reece Walsh, if you have him, it sucks, but you got to stick with him. I reckon he's a hold. Saying that, if he is the way you get to Matty Nicholson and, Payne Haas or something like that, then I get it. You can that move. But if you can hold Walsh, I'd recommend trying to do it. That's because you'll sell him and he'll come out and he'll absolutely dominate after that. Like that's the issue, right? You'll sell him and you'll see this dominant game. And you'll come in, oh no, why did I sell Reece Walsh? Because you're impatient. That's the answer. Now, Eels versus Tigers. So Terrell May came out 65 minutes again. It looks like 65 minutes is exactly how many minutes he's going to get it week to week. He played the first 65 minutes in this game and then went off for the last 15, and the Tigers had puts to bed by then. Terrell May just dominated, right? So I don't think his scores are super reliant on who he plays against. So Newcastle round one are a pretty solid team. That was a solidly contested game through the middle. Round two up against Parramatta, who I don't know what to say. I try to keep this semi-G rated, but they were disgusting. They were, as a Para fan, I was just totally disgusted by that performance. That was two of the worst performances I've ever seen a team put together, and they've done it in back-to-back weeks to start the season. Like Parramatta are totally disgusting right now. But yeah, Terrell May went about his work. So look, that's a separate video. Terrell May went about his work. Look, 43 tackles, bunch of tackle breaks, offloads there as well, 176 run meters. Like he just got it done without anything that exciting in that, right? It's only 2 offloads and an offload to ground. Like it's not even a crazy offload game. He just came out and pumped out 73 points without doing anything crazy. And it was like 40 degrees in this game. I have no idea how the guy played 65 minutes straight. It was so hard. He just kept on pumping. Like this guy has the most ridiculous motor I've seen of any player in the league. He's just totally unstoppable and just so dynamic as well. Like, it's very rare you get a guy who's this dynamic and also has that motor. I hope he can stay fit. That's the big thing because sometimes these guys that come in, we saw Pass at the start of his career do this as well and picked up a few injuries. Hopefully, Terrell May can stay fit. I think he can because he plays. It's a bit weird to say, but he plays almost a bit of a lower impact style of rugby league than Payne Haas. So Payne Haas is full steam into the line, like pure power running. Terrell May is almost more like a crafty running back in a way where he picks his spots. You know what I mean? Like he's a bit like Andrew Fafita, where he picks his moments. He's a bit lighter than Fafita as well, so probably not as damaging of a ball runner than prime Fafita, but has that motor where he can just play unlimited minutes. So look, Terrell May as a captain option is probably the question that you're thinking about there. It's viable. I mean, I talked about it this week as him being the number 2 captain option in my head for my team. I don't have Payne Haas, right? But yeah, Terrell May and Nathan Cleary being the 2 captain options I'm looking at. And again, I'd look at it again this week. I mean, Payne Haas is one you can look at as well. Payne Haas can pump out 100 plus. Like Terrell May, you're throwing a few attacking stats, 100 points. Like Nathan Cleary, a couple of those runs tear off 100 points. I'm probably leaning towards Cleary against Melbourne though. I think he's going to have to step up if there's going to be any chance in that game. And that's going to mean a lot of big attacking plays, running the ball. That's when we see Cleary score his best. So yeah, loaded captain options, which is really exciting. It's good for fantasy that we have all these options here. Then on the list here, Lockie Galvin scored the try, a bunch of try assists. Like he put on a show. I doubt he wants to Parramatta after that game because he showed that the Tigers are a better team, but maybe they're a better team with him in them. And maybe he makes Parramatta better. Maybe him and Moses and Parramatta changes things. Zach Lomax here, bigger work rate game. So 5 offloads, 8 tackle busts. You got 36 points out of that, right? That's absolutely massive. You run meters, then you've got another 19 there. So it takes up to, 55 points off those 3 stats, and you're throwing a few extra things, right? 59 points from him. He's solid. Not someone I'd target with how bad Parramatta are playing right now. Taruva hat trick. I'm not interested. Toa had a game, and look, this is the interesting thing about this isn't the score. So 56 is cool. It's super cool. The interesting thing about this is how good he looked in this game. Now, there's talk that they're going to sign Taylon May to the team. And the theory was that Taylor May would take the spot of Stafford Toa because Stafford Toa wasn't really in considerations until Justin Olam was ruled out, right? So Stafford Toa was presumed to be dropped, but he looked fantastic in this game. Like he was very dynamic. He plays very well outside of Galvin, runs a straight line. Maybe he earned himself a position in some way. The issue is that they're probably not going to drop Skelton. They're probably not going to drop Taruva, definitely not him. They're not going to drop Dewey, I would expect. So it becomes a case of does he beat Taylor May for a spot? Maybe he's earned himself an extra couple of weeks while Taylor May gets used to things. Like I still think Taylor May is a superior player, but Stafford Toa, if you have Stafford Toa, you're probably pretty happy with this, and you can just ride a bit of a cash wave, and maybe he's bought himself a bit more time. I still wouldn't recommend buying him unless we hear news that Taylor May is not going to be at the Tigers, because that's the theory there. Like if you get a red dot in your team too early, it just really screws you up. Then look, Jack Williams here, 53 points. Biz was high on him this week, and he came up good. Not a guy I'm targeting at all. I think they'll get some guys back. Madison will come back, Cartwright, bunch of guys there that will steal those minutes off him. Dwayne, he was interesting, 53 points, had a good day out. Hopgood, 50 points, 64 minutes. The minutes are good. Just no attacking upside, right? So you got 46 tackles, 80 meters run. Missed tackles, errors. Like those errors could have been offloads. Maybe that turns things around. If I had Hopgood, I'd try to hold him. But if you can go Hopgood to Haas, it's kind of hard to say no to that, isn't it? Like, just the thing is with Hobgood, I think he'll come out and pump out like a 70 next week. Like, I just reckon, or the week after, he'll at some point it'll click and he'll start pumping. It's just Parramatta have been really, really bad. Like, just terrible, terrible football played by them. Skelton killing it in real life, probably not interesting for fantasy. 12, yeah, 49 minutes, probably not enough to be worth considering. Stay fast, he was a good hold. So we talked about him all week as a hold. Back to 80 minutes there, 43 points. It's 43 with no attacking upside at all. You got an offload there, but other than that, it's nothing, right? So 43 base is absolutely fine. You will take that to the house every week, and every now and then he'll score a try, right? So then you get that 50, 60 point game. Samrani was good. I like the 8 to 8 tackle bust. I like 200 meters run. Made a nice bust in this game. He looked hard to contain a few times as well. He should be the second winger in this parasite behind Adokar. So I would have him ahead of Sean Russell. I'd have him ahead of Jake Tungo, whoever else they want to throw up here. I reckon Samrani has done enough in that game to earn himself the third spot behind, Simonson and Adokar. But the reason I say second is because Simonson's still a couple of weeks away. So I think he will hold that spot for a little bit. Then if there are injuries, he might get back in. It's a tough one to predict with Parramatta because they're just such a basket case. But yeah, Samrani, it's a hard one to gamble on. It's a tricky one. I like him as a talent, right? If he gets named again this week, he'd really think about it. He'll get that wing fullback eligibility too, potentially at some point, but he did play a lot of center in this game. Like, it was very interesting. Him and Lomax swapped around. So Lomax defended on the wing, attacked at center, and Samrani was obviously the opposite to that. Then Dylan Brown, 40 points. So they bumped up a decent score here. Had a few nice runs early, and then when the game sort of got a bit hard, he kind of vanished. So, that's probably what you can expect from Dylan Brown. If it's a bit of a flatter track, he'll run up some, he's a nice ball runner, but I think he's sort of there's a lot of heat on him right now, right? Like, he's signed with the Knights for a lot of money. I don't think the confidence is very high. You know what I mean? And there's a few plays where the old Dylan Brown would have chased a guy down and sort of been in the picture, and he just wasn't there. So he's not a guy I'm investing in this year at all. Offhand, Gowie played a few more minutes, but not enough. Junior Paulo played a lot of minutes, but didn't do much with him. Then down the list here, Luai is an interesting one. So 39 run meters is a bit of a disaster. And look, he had a few nice attacking plays in this game, but his first instinct was to play that sort of distributing halfback role. So again, that's not what you want out of Luai. You want those attacking plays. You want the ball running. You want 120 run meters a game. So Luai, if you have him, I'd pretty strongly consider selling. The role he's playing is not effective for fantasy. He's not enough of a pure 7 to score well doing this. Then down the list here, we'll see Russell. Riley Smith, I'll talk about him for a sec. So 33 tackles, 30 points. So basically just a pure base stat tackle day for him. 56 minutes, so he's playing bigger minutes again. Could be a guy you cash out to. His minutes will stay the same or increase as the year goes on. He's the better hooker than Brendan Hands in my eyes, 100%. And he is getting more and more minutes. So at some point he might move into, I don't think he's going to move into 80 minutes, but maybe more like 60, 65 even. But until then, you're looking at a guy who's going to pump out about a 30 average, I would say. Have a few attacking days at some point as well. And as a cash out, you could do worse than that, but he's not someone I'm breaking my team to go get. Jack Bird's interesting. So he was pumping for a little bit and then only played 33 minutes. He had a bit of ice on the knee, I believe it was, after the game. Don't know if it was just precautionary or something more serious. I think it was precautionary, but by that point, I was already watching the game through tears as a Parramatta fan. Coruscant, 58 minutes, 26 points. Again, not much for him. Coruscant's tricky because when you buy Coruscant, his defensive output isn't enough to justify having him as a hooker. So, 4 missed tackles, 23 tackles. And generally, he misses quite a few tackles, but it's not necessarily bad defense. It's more he comes in, makes good contact. Like, just the way he defends. So with Coruscant, you need attacking stats, and he didn't really look like he was going for him as much as, previous years. Maybe just the first week back, it was very hard, all that. He made a few nice runs, but you want him like playing in that mood, and for Coruscant to be interesting, and he might be interesting at some soon because of the price. Like, he'll drop that in price, but we need to see him playing in that mood. That's the big thing for me on Coruscant. Kautonga, so 60 minutes for him, very encouraging. 24 points, he stays nice and cheap. He met the starting spot next week. I'm not saying with any certainty that he will, but he may get a starting spot. We saw Jack Williams move into the middle pretty in this game. So Kautonga could be a starter on the edge back row spot. He had a few defensive misreads, but so did every other person in a Parramatta jersey on that field. Sean Lane, just gross performance for stats here, like 5 missed tackles, 40 meters run. Like, what's going on? Probably needs to get more involved if he's going to be interesting for fantasy, like he was in 2022. Yongi, this is a tough one. This is tough because Yongi came into this game and I loved what I saw from him against Melbourne. Like, I thought he really threw himself at that Melbourne game. Ran hard, was very hard to put down, evasive. Ran like he felt like he was going to break through tackles. And in this game, I didn't see that. It felt a bit like he was conceding the tackles. He was playing within himself a bit. Like, I don't know if maybe it was the big crowd. I would have thought the Melbourne game would be the one that he'd be more intimidated by, but he didn't look good. He didn't look good. He didn't pass the eye test for me. A bunch of missed tackles there, but that's part of the fact that they were getting, busted through constantly. I don't know. I wasn't as impressed by this one. So I ran Iongi in my team, and I thought Parramatta would be competitive against the Tigers. Like, it's straight up. That's where I was at with that game. Do I think Parramatta will be competitive with the Dogs next week? The Dogs will be missing Matt Burton and Viliami Kikau. So you'd think that they could rock up and play some footy. It's just hard to say for the first 2 games that Parramatta would be competitive with anyone. That's my concern here. Like, I think you have to bench Yongi if you can. Most of us don't have Dragons players, right? Like, we don't have too many. Maybe you have Couchman, but you can probably afford to bench Yongi. And I think you need to bench him until we see something from Parramatta. Maybe the Dogs. I mean, they shut Keeney down today, the Dogs. He made a couple of big attacking plays at the end, got himself to like 30 points. Like, they really shut Keeney down. Keeney is 10 times the fantasy player than Yongi is. So I don't know, a bit off him. I'm not totally against selling him this week. I'm going to hold him in my team, but if you need to sell him, I'm not against it. I just think Parramatta are a bit of a disaster. He's good. I like him, but he's not going to carry himself to great fantasy scores. Like, in reserve grade, we talked about him. We predicted him as a 35 to 40 point average. That's with Moses playing and Para being not dreadful, right? But yeah, with them being like this, is going to be tough. Volkman quiet, Royce Hunt very quiet. We talked about Royce Hunt as well. 18 points, 30 minutes. Like, this is kind of a forecast for him. And then Tuivasa in a lot of minutes. He's kind of interesting if you ever got the minutes. Looks all right. And then there's no one else really down this game. So let's roll into the Titans game now, because this was a game where the Titans kind of looked like they were going to come back a couple of times. The Dogs looked like they were world beaters. Like, until Matt Burton got hurt, the Dogs were going to run up 50 in this game. Like, Matt Burton looked fantastic to start this game. He was absolutely electric, ran the ball hard, busted through to set up that first try. Like, he looked awesome, and it really sucks that he's copped that MCL injury. So it looks like Matt Burton will be out about 4 weeks. Kick will be about 6 weeks. That's just my initial, what I'm hearing roughly. Wait for official confirmation, obviously. Like, you gotta get the official confirmation on these things, but it sounds like they'll be out for a while. So the Dogs have been in a tough spot. Titans fought back and then just sort of at times forgot that they have the forward pack they have and just decided not to run the ball hard. Like, it was very strange strategy from the Titans. Also, Dave Fafita played 33 minutes in this game. 32 minutes, like something ridiculous like that. Like, Fafita came on like the 58th minute. It was just insane from Des Hasler. Like, I don't know what's going on there. For us in fantasy world, though, it means he's going to be a cheapie at some point. So we'll buy Dave Fafita in about 4 weeks' time at a discount. But looking through this game here, look, Tino, 55 minutes, 75 points. Grabbed the try there. That included a line break, some tackle busts as well. He was strong in general, like a few missed tackles there. But even without the try, you take out the 8 points, you take out the line break, you take out a few tackle busts as well. Let's call it a 12 plus, 2 tackle busts, like maybe 16 plus 10 meters, maybe 17, right? So we'll call it a 17-point try. You take that off, and you're looking at about a 58-point game, right? So for 700K, Tino is not a ridiculous option to look at. I mean, you can't blame over paying ass, right? It's just not possible. Yeah, he was really good. So we started with Tino, pretty happy with that. Bo Firma, again, look, the try assist there. So he set up that try, had, some offload, had some tackle, or one tackle bust as well. 30 tackles, not a lot of misses there, 120 meters. It was a very solid base game. Bo Firma is basically Dylan Lucas. They're the same guy, pretty much. They're in teams that, still kind of figuring it out in terms of their halves pairing, and they're fun teams to watch. And these guys are attacking back rows who have a great work rate. Like Firma and Dylan Lucas, 1A, 1B, they're those top centers for me. Now, if you get both of them, you'd be in a great spot. It might be a bit of a waste because Rob Toyer has proven himself as a very reliable option if he can keep that spot. That's the big question. Then Jamin Salmon, we're not falling for that again. Max King, good game from him. Reed Money, better game from him. Had a really quiet run. That kind of ruins his drop in price though. That's the problem. So Reed Money is kind of off the radar a bit. Kick out, injured. Preston saved his day with that try. Would have been a bit of a quiet game before that. Played a bit of center in this game as well, though, so that kind of hurt him. Like, there's a few things going on for Preston here. You'd be happy as an owner with 53 points. Like, the attacking upside there was shown. 5 tackle breaks as well. Like, he looked good. Preston always looks like one of the better players on the field. So I wouldn't worry too much. If you got Preston, I'd stick with him. Then Curran, better day for him, but only 41 minutes. Not great. Forder played a few minutes. He's better when Tino's in the team, which is actually kind of productive, right? Like you normally think, oh, he's going to step up with Tino out. Is better when Tino's in because he likes that second run, that third run, as opposed to taking that first run. And it's just where he's more effective. Sexton could be interesting if Burton's out for a while because Sexton took over, right? 407 kick meters. Depends who his halves partner is, but Sexton might take over as a dominant half and be like a 50 average. And at, 500K-ish could be interesting. Probably not interesting enough. Montoya, Camprera, taking upside. Jaden Campbell, we got to talk about this guy here. So Jaden Campbell, a few goals, 18 tackles, 3 missed tackles. I thought it might be more. He might update with more, to be honest. 400 kick meters is good. The 64 run meters came towards the end. So Campbell was interesting. He didn't really seem to be playing attacking footy until the last 20 minutes. And he kind of woke up. He was on about 20 points with about 28 minutes to go. And then he sort of figured it out, right? So I think Campbell, I'm going to write this off as a bit of an adjustment game for him to playing 7 because he was genuinely the 7 in this team, right? So Brimson wasn't, it wasn't a 1A, 1B scenario. Like Brimson was a running 6. Campbell was the 7. He was taking majority of the kicks. He was steering the team around. He still needs to figure out where to inject himself. So there's a few times where they'd make a line break, and then the play after that, he wouldn't jump into first receiver. He wouldn't ask for the ball. And it would go to a forward, and they'd take a hit up or a one-off run. And there's a bit of that where Campbell, one second, guys. Campbell needs to sort of figure that out. Yeah, where how he has to inject himself into the team. So I'm recording this pretty late at night, so the lights keep switching off. Yeah, he has to figure out how to inject himself in attack. That's the big thing because the attacking upside is what's going to boost him up. So if you look at him and you go, all right, 42 points, pretty much pure base. Like it's a base game for him, 42 points. I'm good with it. I'm cool with that because he's going to have big attacking days where he absolutely tears teams apart. And the Titans have great fixtures coming up as well. So Campbell's sticking in my team 100%. He's a firm hold. I'm good with it. Down the list here, anyone else we want to talk about here? Kurt Mann played a bit of half as well. Crichton went to the halves for a bit. Cleese Haas started crazy. Like Keeney, he's getting a bit cheaper. 29 points there in this game. Saved it with a late run. He was on like 3 points, 5 points. He was absolutely dying with about 20 minutes to go. Bumped it up at the end. Tupanua, we talked about him as a trap. There it is, 29 points. Absolute trap. AJ Brimson, 26. So I don't know if I'd panic if I was a Brimstone. I mean, the hard thing is seven missed tackles, right? Minus 14 for that. It's the difference between 26 and 40, right? And teams are going to run at him. Like he goes in hard. He works hard in defense, but he just gets bumped off quite a bit. 73 meters is good. The kick meters are a bit lower, so him without the kick meters is a bit less attractive too. He'll have better attacking days than this though. So I mean, if I had Brimson, I'd probably stick with him. I think at 482K, maybe a bit cheaper than that next week. But that sort of high 400s area, I think he's one of the better guys you can get. So for mine, you stick with Brimson. That's my advice there. But I think you give him another week. Like the attacking upside's going to show. He had that run where he dropped the ball over the line, and that would have been a booster to push him into the 40s. If he scored that try, and he really should have scored that try. So yeah, I wouldn't be freaking out about Brimson. I think it's an adjustment game for these two. Wouldn't stress. Matty Burton went off really early with this game with the injury. He'll be out for a while. He'll be cheap at some point. Very interesting for us to buy, especially through the origin period. Dave Fafita, 32 minutes, 21 points. Points are fine. Like came on, broke a tackle, had some offloads, ran some meters, like did his thing. But as if he's playing 32 minutes, like it's just insane to me. At some point, he'll go back to 80 minutes, and then we'll be like, all right, now it's time. It's time to buy Dave Fafita. Regan Campbell-Gillard, 40 minutes, 14 points. Oh, that's bad. And I gotta say, like the Titans, they were blown through. I like at the start of this game, it's at Belmore, right? And Dogs fans are fired up. They're very passionate. They're a hardcore fan group. And the Dogs fire up when they play at Belmont too. But you look at the packs on paper and you think, oh, this Titans pack should blow through. And they just didn't. They didn't do anything. They got absolutely pounded by the Dogs at the start of this game. It's like 22-0. It was absolutely crazy. And RCG, his first stint, I thought he'd put a stamp on it, and he didn't. And I think he'll come out next week and he'll want to, because he'll feel it after that. Like part of that loss is on him. There's a big signing there. Tino played his part, and he's coming back from a major injury. RCG will be better next week. That's my expectation there. But if he does get nice and cheap at some point, we might consider buying him. Because that 14, that's going to make him very cheap. So keep an eye on him, but not a target straight away. Okay, guys, that is my recap of the round. So, look, big thing here is there's a few buy options we want to talk about. It's probably about targeting Maddie Nicholson and Payne Haas. I would say they're the two that are really interesting. I think for the Newcastle players, you probably want to give it a bit of time because they have the buy in round 4. So you probably want to target them in round 5, I would say. They do have a good matchup this week, though. So if you do really want one of them, you can jump on. They might pump out a big score for you this week and then, duck out next week because it is Titans v Knights, right? We saw the Dogs put 40 on. The Knights can attack. Maybe they, have a bit of a shootout with the Titans. Hopefully, it is a bit of a shootout. But yeah, no, I could see anything happening there. So yeah, they're the two I'd target in terms of the sell options. There's a few injured guys. So Dylan Edwards, Zach Hosking, there's a bunch of guys who we can talk about. Matt Burton. They're the easy sells, but then some of the other ones are a bit trickier. Jaden Campbell is a hold, 100%. But we'll go through it this week. So we'll have the buy, hold, sell video that comes out on Wednesday. Keep an eye on the Teamless Tuesday live video as well. So 4:05 p.m. So just after 4 p.m. on Tuesday, as soon as Teamless come out, I run through those, I talk through those as well. And let me know what you think of this format too, because I went a bit longer today. I just sort of thought I won't rush it as much. I'll sort of talk through my thoughts here because these are some of the questions that I get from you guys. So let me know what you think of this. If you want me to go a bit faster next time, let me know that too. If you like the long form, I guess if you're listening now, you probably like the long form because it's still here. Let me know about that. Anyway, thanks, guys. Hopefully it was a good week for you. I'll see you on the next video. Peace out, guys.